we're starting directly to Facebook. Hello, Tina.
No, that was fast.
Right, okay. This is Stephen and Tina with the talk show, which must mean that it's Tuesday. If you're joining us the first time, welcome. If you're joining us on the replay, welcome. We're going to talk about, well, with talk show, we have an agenda, and then somebody comes along, the agenda goes out the window, doesn't it? Oh, yes, it does.
Every time.
As soon as we see this comment, and Tina and Stephen say in unison, hello, Robert. Right, in fact,
Hey,
Robert,
hey.
you're more than welcome to join us. If you type guest, the bot is running today. And you can come on and give insights into two topics that we're going to cover. Because it's a mystery, isn't it? Our topic.
It is to me.
It's a mystery wrapped in enigma, and we're looking for insights into Facebook reach. So we say hello to Gail and hello to Robert, and Robert twice. Right? Can you just, because we started off before we went live, we're talking about your experiences on the show yesterday, and this is the nub of the problem, isn't it?
It is. It's a frustrating issue with trying to figure out kind of what Facebook wants. And in this specific example, we boosted a live show, which we've done many times in the past. And for whatever reason, this one was rejected. The problem is we don't get a reason. So we don't know how to fix the problem. And really, I cannot fathom what the problem is, because it's pretty much exactly the same thing that we've done in the past that's always been just fine. So I don't know if Facebook has changed something, in their terms of service, or I'm not sure what's going on with why this one would be not accepted when all of the others, which were pretty much exactly the same, were accepted. So that's what we're talking about. It's just kind of frustrating when you can't figure out, like, there's no logic behind the results that you get or the rejections that you get. So it's frustrating. And, it even says whenever you get the rejection, it says, if you click on the link, check your email and click on the link in the email, and it'll tell you why your ad was rejected. No, it doesn't tell me why my ad was rejected. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure out why that one was rejected and what's going on. But I know if it's happening to me, I'm not the only one that's gotten rejections and couldn't figure out why.
Oh no, I kept putting things up for boosting or for advertising, and it just came back rejected. And I thought, well, what's wrong? And you, as you say, you press the button and you find out less than you knew before you started. And it wasn't until I sort of boosted a video starring Robert C. Stern that Facebook actually accepted it and said, yes, you can. So one of the ways to actually get your live video boosted is to have Mr. Robert C. Stern star in it, and that seems to work well, because I've done one since and that was rejected too. So.
And I don't even do a lot of boost. I do more ads than boost, but the live shows, a lot of times we'll boost those because we don't want to do an ad with them. They're too long to do an ad bid unless we are just pulling out a piece and making an ad out of it. But in this case, we wanted to boost it because we want people to see the entire show that we did. And that's been the case for every time I've boosted a live show. It's been a boost and not, going in to create the ad. And it's never been an issue until yesterday. So still trying to figure that out and make sense of it all.
Facebook is if they produced a rule book and you could tick off the rules and say, right, that's where I'm going wrong, then we could all live with it and we would play the game. We'd play Facebook's game. We'd abide by the rules and guidelines and the terms of service, and we'd know that we've got a clean product that they would promote. Well, so we can pay to promote. It's not as if we're asking them for money.
Well, there are a lot of rules, for ads with Facebook, and it's a lot to remember. You really, until you've been doing it for a long time, you really just kind of have to go back and look over them. But it's not consistent. That's the problem, I think. They don't consistently reject things, even if they don't comply. Sometimes they still make it through, and that makes it really hard. I think it just depends on who's looking at it or what. I don't know what the process is. It's really confusing. That's the problem. Yeah. There's not a lot of consistency, and that's one of the same problems that we have with, with just growing our audiences in general. What works for one person or for one location or for one business does not work for another person in terms of growing the audience and getting engagement. And so there's no one size fits all, that's for sure. It's difficult to figure it out. And then once you figure it out and you got things rolling, Facebook will change it again and you can start all over.
Well, that's it. I mean, we with Udemy courses, creating Udemy courses, especially in the early days, when I was creating them to start with, there was some what can best be described as rogue invigilators, and they wouldn't let any course through. So if you got the wrong person on the wrong day, there's no way that your course was ever going to be approved. But if you got the right person who just having a normal day, then your course will get approved. And it's frustrating because you can't do anything. You can't sort of decide who's actually going to look at this. Mm-hmm. And when it's a Facebook algorithm that's firing, and that algorithm isn't documented for everybody, it's bad. Right, just to catch up with Robert, the key to consistency on social media is the ability to change with it.
For sure. You're not going to get bored. That's one of the, I like to learn, so I get a little crazy sometimes, but it keeps me on my toes. I enjoy learning and figuring out the new things. And I will say, don't be afraid to appeal. So if your ad is rejected, I've appealed more than once, and I've gotten mine approved more than once. So in fact, pretty much every time that I've appealed it, it's been approved. So whatever the process is, and I'm sure that it is not a human that's looking at the ad initially to get it approved. So whatever the process is, I think it's strict enough that it's maybe blocking some that should be approved. So appeal it, and chances are that you'll get it through, unless you are clearly violating, their terms of service. They have some rules that are like really clear, especially if you're doing anything in healthcare or weight loss, those kind of things, medications, herbal supplements. They have some really strict guidelines for what you can and cannot say and what kind of images you can and cannot use. So if you kind of skimmed through at least and can't figure out why your ad is being denied, go ahead and appeal it. At the very least, hopefully you'll get a response with why it's denied and you can fix it.
Well, then you can move forward. And just to go to Robert's point, which was well made, the key to consistency on social media is the ability to change with it. Tina and I are chameleons. Whenever the surrounding area changes, we change to match. And we've had that many different shows on here trying different things to actually get something working. So we're aware of that, and we try that, and everybody else should too. Wise words, Robert. And Christian, if you want to join us on camera, more than welcome to do so. We have our BLIFbot running today, and if you type guest, you'll get a message on Messenger. Type yay in response, and you'll get a link to join us live on camera.
Well, before we switch topics, while we're still talking about Facebook algorithm,
yep.
Now, a lot of people you've seen a lot of doom and gloom kind of stuff going out there, especially initially about, that Facebook is dead and so on and so forth. Proof, just a little bit of proof that organic still works. If you hit the right nerve, like find something that resonates, your organic reach is still going to be really great. So we have a page that has 1,300 likes. Not huge, but not bad, right? Their place of business, a dog showed up And so they put the dog in a pen and are feeding it and taking care of it. And of course, they posted on their Facebook, do you know who this dog belongs to? It has a pink collar. Call us if she's yours. That post, one single post, has 24,940 people reached, 483 shares, and a whole bunch of comments. And that's like way above what a per post reach would be normally for this page. And so, I mean, of course we're not going to have a lost pet every day that we can post and put up there.
No, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't.
But the point is, if you can figure out what resonates with your audience, you can still get really great organic reach. It's just figuring out what that is. So,
Indeed.
On the one hand, it's a little frustrating. You're like, well, it's posted really well. But on the other hand, it just goes to show you that the organic possibilities are still there. It's just really figuring out who your audience is and what they want to see from you.
It's getting to fit in. That was a human interest, sort of dog interest story.
Mm-hmm. You can't really go wrong with pets and kids.
You can't. It
doesn't matter what your business is. Pets and kids always work.
Right. And Christian's saying organic reach is 2%. So, right, okay. And that's if it gets engagement at first. So, and this is something we've mentioned before, that if you're going to go live, when you go live, the number of live viewers determines the number of replay viewers. If you have 20 people watching 20 views during the show, you might end up with 40. If you have 200 views during the show, you might end up with 400.
It also depends too if the people watching are commenting and sharing, and that will make a difference in your overall reach as well.
Which brings us to Carinder, whose mantra is, please share. So if you are enjoying this, please share as we say hello to Carinder. Carinder, hello.
Hi, Stephen. Hi, Tina.
Hey.
Right. For not Facebook ad, Instagram and LinkedIn, I got Facebook ad. According to Robert comment about social media is everywhere. Like, not social media on a mobile, not social media on a laptop, not social media everywhere.
That's true. And we're talking to the fact that no matter what we try, we have a certain audience, and we can't fathom it. We can't fathom why we get a darn good audience, the brilliant audience this week. Thank you, everybody who's joined us. We can't fathom why we get a good audience one show and not the next with the same time and the same presenters. So that's what we're working on.
Even if you go on Instagram Live is actually not very good ad on the bottom. Like, go on the bottom of the Instagram Live. If you go live on Instagram, there's ads on the bottom.
Is Instagram Live still like really short? You have a very short time that you can go live, or can you go live for as long as you want? Because I haven't checked Instagram.
I know I'm actually one.
I'm still not using it.
They have two people on Instagram.
Yeah, but we're not on Instagram, Carinder. We're trying to do our best on Facebook as we say hello to Robert. Robert, now that you're on, we can boost this afterwards, get a great audience. Thank you for joining us.
Stephen. I can't wait to get to United Kingdom and actually see him in person. I want to go back to what all things you said.
Yeah.
We were talking about consistency and its ability to change, and you guys being chameleons, and we all have to be chameleons because social media just changes on a weekly basis of what we're involved in. But it's interesting that you're bringing up, how the dog posts can get huge numbers, and when we're doing business stuff, we get excited when we get 12 people in the room. Do you know what's interesting? We've said it before. Tina and I have had this discussion. we've said this a few times. Everybody is hung up on the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That we have to have these huge, huge numbers. Well, if you're using this for business, yeah, I would love to have a video that had 10,000 views. But you know what? I'll take a video that had 100 views and I got a client from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's more important to me. I think we need to start looking at it differently as, yeah, we'd love to have the big numbers, but focus on what you have.
Yeah, you definitely have to have a strategy in place, and that doesn't just mean what is your strategy for content, but what are your ultimate goals? So is your goal to just build community? If you're just wanting to build community and your clients are all over the world, then that crazy zany video you did that's really kooky and makes no sense except that it's clickbait and 500,000 people are going to watch it. That's great for that example. But for most of us, we want, foot traffic through the door. We want a new client. We want to sell a product. And so if you reach 500,000 people with that crazy clickbait video and you didn't reach those goals that you have, then it's useless. So, I've said that a million times to people. You see people selling, like, we're guaranteed that we'll make sure that your video goes viral. Okay, so 500,000 people saw my video. Did anybody buy my product? Did I get a new client? Did somebody walk through my door? If the answer is no, and that was your goal, then you failed. If the answer was, if the goal was just to get as many people as possible to see your page or to build a community around, I don't know, zany videos, then maybe you succeeded. But that it's frustrating because not only do we have to retrain ourselves, as Robert mentioned, about how we look at things, but if we serve clients as Robert and I do, then we have to train our clients.
I'm working, man. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Tina's talking and all of a sudden he goes,
bing, bing, bing. I was like, what is...
Just a minute.
And,
right, okay,
and
Christian,
Robert,
I just muted you. Mike. Tina, sorry. How
do you handle training your clients to get out of that trap of, well, I want a bunch of likes on my page. Likes are completely irrelevant. That's like one of the first conversations I have with a client. Likes don't matter.
Christian's going to like my answer. Do you remember the movie Moonstruck with Cher?
Oh my gosh, vaguely.
When she turns to the brother who's saying he's falling in love with her, she takes her hand and she goes, smack out of it. That's not how it works.
Sorry.
Now's a good point to introduce Christian, Tina, Christian, Robert, Christian, Robert.
Everyone. That's one thing I always tell my clients: likes and shares don't equal dollars and cents. This is not Facebook in 2007. Everything has changed massively. Mm-hmm. So, you were talking earlier, oh, my video, 500,000 people watched my video and I didn't get any sales, or I didn't get what I wanted out of it. Well, 4 years ago, you could release a video and you will get straight sales out of it. Audiences are used to noise on their feeds all day long. So now you have to show them a video. You have to create an audience out of that video. Then you have to create what's called a lookalike audience out of that video. Then go for an add to cart conversion out of that video. And then go for a purchase conversion out of that video. Now, this is like e-commerce and sales. Now, if we're talking BLIF, I'm assuming if you're in the BLIF group, you want views and you want content for your channels or whatever. The first thing that you should be doing is submitting your show or your channel to Facebook as a TV show, because they're now running the platform right now. So if you can get in there from the beginning, it's going to give you a huge boost right away, which is, they're not going to accept everybody. I submitted mine months and months ago, and I haven't heard back from them. But then again, it's Facebook. Waiting. Good luck getting a hold of Facebook in the first place. I have a rep, and they're useless. I know more than they do. So don't get your hypes up. Just make sure you submit and just be patient and keep doing it, because eventually it'll get there. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Stephen, tell them you don't have to be a big dog to submit and get accepted, do you?
No, you don't. You don't. You can be just an ordinary broadcaster. Right. Okay. Now, well, what can I say about this gentleman? I'm going to say nothing, and I'm going to drop down as he comes up onto the show for the first time. Well, this month. Welcome to David Vaughan.
I already know who it is. This show just went downhill like you wouldn't believe. And this is the great thing. I can say something about him right now, and he can't boot me.
No, I can't.
Steven can, but you can't.
Hi, David.
No booting.
I haven't seen you in ages.
Yeah, where have you been hiding?
I took time off.
You can do
Still
that?
taking time off.
I think you even got a haircut.
A few weeks ago, yes, I did.
Well, you haven't been around for a few
I
weeks.
did. I shaved too.
About time.
I didn't.
Not shaving now, but all this is gone. So that's something different.
We must have hit a chime because he came flying in.
Shut the hell up about what likes. Who cares about likes? If you can't put it in the bank, who cares?
It's as simple as that.
If you're not worried about here's the thing. If you're worried about the likes that you're getting, then you are not focused on what you should actually be doing. And that's like with anything else in business. That's like having a brick and mortar business and wondering, if you have enough people walking by your store, but they're not stopping in and buying anything. You need people to buy your stuff. So, shut the hell up about your likes.
You can have 100 likes on a page, or you can have 1,000 likes on a page. But if your 100 likes or those 100 people are super passionate and what I call hardcore fans of what you do, they're going to bring you engagement, which is what Facebook wants. Facebook and Instagram. And Instagram knows so much because they haven't rolled into that section yet, even though they own it. But engagement. Facebook is about all engagement now. If there's no engagements that sets off the algorithm right away as soon as you post, the algorithm is going to look at it. It's like, okay, I give you a chance of 24 hours, 48 hours, or an hour, whatever it is. And then depending on the number of likes that you have or the audience that you have. And then if it doesn't pick up, the algorithm doesn't pick up that engagement right away, whether it's likes, happy faces, or comments, the algorithm just drops you and moves on to the next one because they want to keep people on the platform as long as they can. The whole goal of Facebook is to keep you inside their ecosystem, just like Apple, as long as they can. And the longer that they have you, the better it is for them and their numbers for their stockholders. Because, you got to remember, Facebook is also one of the number one advertising platforms in the world. It's all about revenue now. And the way they make the revenue is by advertisers like me, clients like me who have an agency. And then the other way they make their money, it's all the data they have in everyone and that they sell to Google and other companies as well. So they rely on that engagement. If they don't see that you're engaged at all, they're going to drop your content right away and look for something else and put that on the feed that's going to keep them engaged. So that's what I tell people all the time. You have to know your audience. You have to know your audience. And whatever it is that you put out there, you got to read your data. Like, for example, I started my show like months and months ago, and I didn't start taking it seriously. I think it was like 2 months ago because it's just with scheduling with my friend who does the show with me, Shannon. It's just we both work like crazy. So it's really hard to get that schedule. We finally said we're going to do it this day at this time every week, no matter what. And the more we started doing it, I start to get that data back that all you guys can see on your back end on the insides of your page. And I know who my age ranges are. I can see what they're into. You can dig into that data and you can customize your show or your content and apply it to that audience. You can see what works and what doesn't. When you look at your videos and the engagement on the videos and how long people watch for, well, what did I talk about this day? Well, I talked about this and people watch for 3.5 minutes straight live. Okay. On this other video, people only watched for 13 seconds and that was it. There was barely any views. What did I talk about this day? Okay, they didn't like that. And you got to tweak your content towards your audience as well. Another thing that I mentioned in the comments earlier that Facebook, obviously everybody knows they did a huge update to the algorithm. But the second thing, they keep rolling updates every week. So, ad campaigns just been crashing and burning for the past 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So it's been a nightmare. It's been putting out fires for people like me for 3 weeks now. But the other thing that they're doing is that, I mentioned the relevancy before, but the other thing that they measure the success of each campaign is it's the engagement that keeps recurring on that channel. If you don't keep getting that recurring engagement on that on your channel week after week or day after day, the less that you get, the more they're going to drop you at the bottom of the feed. So you have to make sure, even if you have 10 people that follow you, you have to make that content that's relevant to them. Also, one thing that they absolutely hate is the biggest no right away. So if you're running campaigns and they get shut down right away and you can't get them to pull through with an appeal, you can't use the word you anymore. You can't talk directly to people anymore. So you got to get creative. Like, for example, I was just working with a client and it's a workout program. Talk about a nightmare. I can't show before and after pictures, and I can't talk to the audience, directly because it can offend them. You know what I mean? So I can't say, are you ready to lose weight? So we had to get creative with the campaign, and it's just been a complete nightmare. But you can talk directly to people, on site. You have to get creative with it, basically. If not, they're going to pass on it because they're too afraid to offend people, and they want to keep everybody on the ecosystem as well. So,
and going back to what we were talking about the numbers, I did a Facebook Live this morning. I think it's got 150 views. Not a huge number that we're talking about, but 3 people contacted me.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I have.
3 out of 150, I'll take it every single day.
Yeah, no, I tell people all the time. It's like, I have a group where I talk about a lot of this stuff, and I do a couple lives inside that group, which is my digital marketing side of things, because I've been doing this for a long time. But I tell people, if you don't have money for advertising, because the plan that you want to have, if you start your channel and you know what you're doing, you want to take advantage of the organic reach that you have right now, which is not going to last. Enjoy what you can. We're already at the tail end of it. To be honest, I was too late with it because I've been too busy, but this is YouTube, what YouTube used to be in 2008. So right now is your time to take advantage of it, because you do a live, you're going to get 150, 200. I get about 300, 400 a week. But that same video that I posted on YouTube with no fans gets like 12 views, because I just started. There's no, you don't need money to advertise at first. Fredo's asking. Okay, this is what I tell people, and I actually made a video in my group about it. The one thing that you have to do to get started is to be consistent in creating content. What do I mean by that? Make 1 video a day. Or if you only make a show a day that's an hour long or 2 hours long, or whatever it is, grab that video and chop it up in little 10-second increments, or just the punchlines or whatever, and just post that 1 or 2, 2 clips a day or whatever. You gotta get creative with it. The more you do that, the better. And if you take advantage of Instagram right now, which you can do a video for 60 seconds, what I tell people is you can use up to 30 hashtags on Instagram. That's the max. So you want to make sure there's a website called, what's the name of it?
Hashtagify.
No, Websta, Websta. You can hook up to your Instagram account to it. It's completely free, and you can see what hashtags are trending. So every post that you make right now, Instagram is full organic. You want to use all 30 hashtags, all 30. Check the hashtags that are trending. Check the ones that have the highest followers on them. And those are the 30 hashtags that you want to use. And you do that, and if you hit that explore page, your video will go viral. Look at the explore page. Look what's trending on the explore page. Based on that, if you have something that's close to it, that will give you ideas of what to do too as well. So Instagram is huge right now, and Instagram is owned by Facebook. So Instagram is going to get the organic reach is going to get squashed soon. It's just a matter of time.
It's the interesting part though about Instagram versus Facebook is that you just don't get comments on Instagram. Facebook, a lot of people I've worked with in the past, they get tons of likes. They get the bot comments still. They're creeping in. It's Facebook to me. Organic will never die, but you have to change to be inquisitive. You have to engage with them to get them to type.
Right.
Get them to engage. Once they start engaging, your video starts to build.
Agreed. Yeah. So, I mean, the problem with Instagram right now, and I know they're cracking down on it because I've done it before, there's bots. There's lots of bots out there. And listen, I've used bots before, for work stuff. But you can tell when something's a bot. The biggest mistake that most people do without knowing, they play the follow and unfollow game. Okay? So let's say you follow me. I follow you back. I shouldn't be doing that. I mean, if you were my friend, sure, I'll follow you back. But if you're doing a real business Instagram account, you don't follow back anyone. You follow back only high authority accounts, meaning, like whatever's in your niche. So let's say you're in the CrossFit niche. Okay, you're gonna find an athlete that only hardcore CrossFit people will follow. Everybody knows CrossFit, but not everybody knows the top 10 athletes for CrossFit. You know what I mean? So who's going to know those top 10 athletes for CrossFit? The people who are hardcore into it. So what you do is you look who those people are, you pick one of them that has at least 300,000 followers, and you follow that account. And that's it. The max number of accounts that you're going to follow, it's 15. After that, you don't follow anymore. Because then the algorithm sees that you have tons of followers and you're not trying hard to grow your account. So it throws you up higher in the algorithm scale to put you as a quality account. Every account is rated. Your business accounts are rated, your personal accounts are rated, and your Instagram's accounts are rated. So the more hits that you get on that account that are negative, the lower it's going to put you against the algorithm. And we tested this millions of times. And it's known, especially with business accounts, you got to be extremely careful because they will nail you on your personal account as well. So stop. If you have to think about if what I'm doing, it's bad, don't do it. I'm telling you, because you'll get nailed at some point. Listen, I've had tons of business accounts. And when I was doing the black hat stuff years ago, I got accounts banned left and right. But now I'm extremely careful and play by the rules because you don't want to risk it. Not anymore. It's not worth it.
I had a friend who had a Facebook group, had 150,000 people in it. One day he woke up, group was gone.
Oh yeah, just like that. And if you don't have the context or a rep to get to that can, move mountains for you inside Facebook, forget it. You're not getting it back. I had, one of my pages got shut down and it had 52,000 followers or something like that. And I have to move mountains to get in. That's because I had access to a rep. If you don't have access to a rep, forget it. You're not getting anybody. Most people don't even have access to chat, to the chat function where you can actually talk to someone. It's just email. So guys, it's not worth it. Just play the marathon, play the long game. At the end, it's going to benefit you so much better. You know what I mean? And don't just use Facebook. There's a million other platforms out there. Instagram is part of Facebook. Use Instagram, use Google Plus, use whatever's out there. Forums, don't rely on Facebook.
Google Plus?
Yeah, Google Plus, man. We get tons of results through Google Plus, believe it or not. The hardcore people use it. It's there for a reason. It still exists for a reason.
David, what's your opinion on Google Plus?
It's still there.
I know it's still there.
I know people that you know what, Google Plus is like anything else. It's like MySpace, which died off and then made a resurgence in the music industry and all that type of stuff. If your audience is there and you've got a voice and you succeed there, then it's there. It's not gone until it's gone.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of time to think being away and just stepping back and not engaging and not being. And I've found a lot of things out. And I hear a lot of what Christian says, and he's not alone with what he says. A lot of people say the same thing. I just happen to disagree at this point. I think that if you are, I think one of the deadliest terms for anybody in business and trying to do something on any of the social platforms is organic. I think everybody needs to step away from organic. I think that if you can sit there and come to me and say, well, I don't have the money to do ads, I could look at your life and probably find where you could save $5 a day, especially if you happen to enjoy Starbucks coffee. Exactly. It's a level of sacrifice. See that, and that's one of the problems that we've gotten into in the last 2 years, and it's not helped. And we keep going in the snowball effect, and we see all these other people, and we're listening to their BS and all this type of stuff, or we see the lifestyle that they're living now and what they're doing and all this type of stuff. It's like finding somebody on Instagram that's got 6-pack abs and modeling yourself, your fitness routine and your health routine, your diet and everything, trying to get the 6-pack abs. What you don't really understand is that person probably had 6-pack abs for 14 days, took 365 days worth of photos, and that's where they're getting their 365 different posts for each day. But they don't have the 6-pack, because 6-pack abs is insanely insane. It's hard to maintain. The body percentage and all that type of stuff. Organic reach, exact same thing. If you can't, if you put up the sacrifice, you got to work. We've got a bunch of people that are out there and they're like, this online entrepreneur, whatever. Entrepreneur, when Robert grew up, entrepreneur was not a good word. Entrepreneur meant that you were broke, living in your parents' basement, eating cold pizza. That's what entrepreneur meant back in the 70s and 80s. It wasn't a buzzword. And everybody's gotten trapped up in all this type of stuff. You can come up with a little bit of money that you can spend each month. I don't care if it's $10 in a month. You can start out that way, and you can go in and you can learn how to do Facebook ads and Instagram ads and LinkedIn ads if that's where your target audience is at. LinkedIn's not really as specific targeting, but don't worry about the organic, because what happens is when the organic comes around and then the free platform changes the algorithm, like they have on Facebook recently in the past few months, then everybody cries out and says, "Oh, what am I going to do?" You need to do what the platform sat there and said you needed to do in the first place. I mean, if you are targeting 60-year-old Korean women who like hockey, you can do that on Facebook, and it's super duper cheap. And you need to get in on it now while it's super duper cheap, because it's not going to be super duper cheap for very, very long. Because all the big brands that are still spending all their money out on traditional advertising like TV ads and phone book ads and billboards and stuff like that, they haven't sunk a lot of money into Facebook and Instagram and all these other places yet. But when they do, the price is going to go up, because all of a sudden Facebook's going to go, "Hey, we're at it now." Just like what happened with Google. Who was Google's largest advertiser back in, I don't know, the late 90s, early 2000s? Does anybody know? Amazon.
Yeah. No, and advertising costs.
Every single word at dirt cheapness when Amazon only sold books, hardback books. That's it. There was no digital. There was no all this other stuff. And that's how they built the business. But they recognized that that's where they needed to put the focus and the effort and the energy in. And look at where Amazon's at now. Look at where Jeff Bezos is at now. It's about sacrifice. You don't need that $5, $7 latte every single day. Make a sacrifice for 30 days and say, all right, I'm going to take that money that I would normally put into a drink that's got way too much, caffeine and fat and all this other type of stuff. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to do Facebook ads I'm going to use that money and use it towards Facebook ads the next month and do highly targeted. And like Christian said, know your audience. This stuff of spray and pray, that's stupid. Stop trying to sell to 8 billion people, because you are not going to sell to 8 billion people. Why don't you start local? Why don't you start highly targeted ads in your local community that you live and breathe and go out and shop in every single day? And what's the response everybody does? "Oh, but I want to be bigger than that." Shut the fuck up. Oh my God. Where are you right now? You're not anywhere right now. Everybody's got to start small and grow big. That's it.
You
Organic is a bad word.
You have to invest in yourself and in your business, is what you're saying.
Yes.
It's not even a sacrifice. It's you invest in your business. And chances are, if you own a business, you're already investing in some way, whether that's traditional ad marketing.
Chances are you went and invested in stupid shit.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Whether that's in traditional marketing or you bought that course on X, Y, and Z. I know people that have in the last 3 months. I can name 3 people I know of. They have they're starting something. They've already gone out and they've hired a designer for a logo, font, and colors. When is the last time you had a horrible experience at Walmart, but decided you were going to go back because you liked the blue and orange and the way that it worked together?
Everything I started on my own. I literally, like, my logos, that's like my third thought every time I start new stores. I could care less. I was like,
you don't need all that stuff.
You don't. And like, back to what you were saying.
You need to figure out, and you need to stop sitting there and, you know, you need to figure out who your audience is, what their problem is, and do you have a solution for it?
Yeah.
You need to start with thank yous. You know, when you're building stuff, I want to build a sales funnel. Okay, we'll start with the thank you page. Because that's what you really need to do at the end. Thank the person. It also gets you start talking about, okay, this is where I want them, not where all this type of stuff. There are so many areas that you could focus on, and investing in your business, Tina, I agree completely, but stop investing in stupid shit. You don't need studio lights. You don't need a fancy microphone. You don't need a different webcam and all this other type of stuff. You've got a film studio right there in your pocket.
Agreed. And what you were saying before, I mean, when I was talking about organic reach, I was talking about like starting to create content, but I do ads for a living. Trust me, you need to spend money. I mean, it's the nature of the beast now. I mean, this, like I mentioned before, this is not Facebook in 2010. So, and every platform is the same. They have to justify, how to make money. So as you're saying, $5 a day. Yeah, you can spend $5 a day on video views and stuff like that, but you got to learn how to use it too. You can't just expect to throw $5 at Facebook and expect miracles either. There's a method to the process, and there's a process you need to learn.
Exactly, and that's why I was agreeing with you and also reiterating, you need to know who your audience is.
Correct. Yeah, and actually,
if you live in a town of 50,000 people, it'd be wonderful if you could sell all 50,000 people your product. It'd be wonderful if all 50,000 people wanted to come to it, but I highly doubt that you're going to get 1%.
I agree.
You might, but in the beginning, you're probably not, because one, nobody knows you, and then we can go into the stupid iterations like know, like, and trust, and blah, 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 and all that type of stuff. So figure out who it is that and be happy with servicing those people and satisfying that you've made them happy by solving their frustration with a solution to their problem.
I'll give you an idea. This is data that I look at daily, numbers that I look at daily. On a highly targeted audience of 1 million people that are hardcore into your niche, not hardcore, but into your niche, let's say fitness, you create an audience of about 1 million people for a campaign, what we call a conversion campaign. If you do it correctly in the product, it's a hit, and everything stacks like it's supposed to, and everything just lines up with the stars. About 30,000 are the people who are going to buy. The rest is just... it's done. So that gives you an idea. So if you're in a town of 15,000 people, like you're saying, only 100 people are going to buy or something like that. So don't expect to sell everyone. It's not going to happen. But think about it. Yeah, an audience of 1 million only sell 30,000. But if you're selling a $60 product, do the math. It's like, people make up these numbers in their heads that are just insane. My favorite one is because when I do like consulting and stuff like that, it's like, okay, where do you want to take it this year? Well, we want to make 1 million in the first year. Everybody throws 1 million. I was like, okay, 1 million. You know how hard it is to sell 1 million a year? It's easier to sell 350,000 because that's when you get your process down. Once you get that down and it's like month after month after month consistent, then going to 1 million, it's a lot easier than just saying 1 million. You got to learn how to do it. It just doesn't happen overnight. It's been done before, don't get me wrong.
The other thing is that it's not that you can't do 1 million, but it's just as hard to sell $1 as it is $1 million if you don't know how to get to that point. All you got to do is work out the math, and there's very few people out there that know how to work out the math backwards of, okay, if 1 million is your number, fine. What products do you have? Fine. What's the price point that you got? Fine. How many people would it take to buy that product at that? Okay, now if you've got $100 product and you want to make $1 million, well, you got to sell 100,000. I can't do math in my head right now. But anyway, you get my point. Okay, well, fine. So how are you going to get those number of people? Then you got to start working backwards from that as well. They don't want to do it.
You got to know your numbers inside out. I mean, my favorite part is when I talk to people contact me and say, okay, what's your marketing budget? Oh, we don't have one. then I don't want to work with you.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly right there. Oh, I don't have money to put into ads. Really?
Yeah.
Did you go to Starbucks yesterday? Did you, what did you do yesterday? I guarantee we can find money somewhere on something you don't need to spend money on.
Guys, you can, I mean, we're in the BLIF group, so I'm assuming all of you guys want viewers and all that stuff. If you, like he said, $5 a day on video views and a video views campaign, not boost, none of that stuff. You got to go to the back end and actually create a campaign. And you create a video views campaign, depending on what it is that you're into, whatever your niche is, you can get hundreds of views a day. And guess what? If you let it run for months at a time on different, you can actually, there's a little trick. I'm going to give you guys a golden nugget. So let's say you can actually go into your page, right? And when you're building a video views campaign, you can grab all of your videos that you've done from day one and create what's called an audience out of it. So you create an audience out of that. So Facebook already knows who's watching your videos. And then you can tell Facebook, hey, Facebook, multiply this by 1%. And that's called lookalike audience. And then you run the newest video to that audience. And guess what? That audience is going to watch it because the data matches of the people who've already been watching. Facebook is very, very smart. That's why it's so powerful. So like he said, with $5, man, just give up that latte in the morning, make the coffee at home like I do.
or here's a good thing for Instagram. I told somebody this the other week when I was talking to them, and they were talking about not getting a lot of headway on Instagram and all this type. Anyway, so let's say that you are, and we're going to do a restaurant. And you want to do organic or whatever. You don't have any money to pay for stuff. Well, here's a free way to do it on Instagram that I know will work. So let's say you've got a restaurant, so that's local, so that's a town. Okay, so we're not worried about the world. We're not worried about 8 billion people. We're worried about that town of 50,000. And I'm just trying to sit there and get, a few people in to start talking word of mouth. That's the best advertising. That's the free advertising that you want. That's the true organic advertising right there. But nobody ever works for that type of stuff. Nobody ever puts the emphasis in. So let's say that you're in the town of Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Go on Instagram and open up the app and do the search function and search for your town. So Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and then start going through all the posts that'll start popping up from people that have tagged in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Find somebody, just click on, I don't know, the sixth tile down or whatever you want to, and open that up. See how many people that person, have they got a decent, I don't know, more than 10 people that follow them or something like that, likes on their posts or something. You want somebody that does have a little bit of engagement themselves on Instagram. DM that person and sit there and say, hey, listen, comment on the picture. Love this. See that you're in Rocky Mount. We're in Rocky Mount too. Would love to have you in to try out our ribs. We've just opened up and would love having you come in and try out our ribs. All you got to do is show this DM message to whoever in the restaurant when you come in, and your rib meal's on us.
Influencer marketing.
Get that person in, and you know what that person's going to do if they come into your restaurant. If you're cordial enough in that DM, if you're not pushy, when they come in and they show it and they get their free ribs, what are they going to do?
They're going to post it, and then
they're going to snap pictures of that awesome rib dinner, and you better make sure that shit's awesome. Because if your shit tastes that, if it's or if it's nasty, or if there's crap on the floor, or if your urinals look like they smell from the garbage dump of the 70s or something, you're going to get that on Instagram as well.
Another way for restaurants too, you can go on Yelp, and there's what I call Yelp groupies that for some reason they think they're food critics. You can see the profiles, and you can see locally how many restaurants I've been to, how many times they review, and make sure you pick one that's not too picky or too into it, but they have a following, believe it or not. So same thing, invite them in, and guess what? They're going to post it on Instagram. They're going to post it on Yelp, and that will get you some traffic there. Another thing for local businesses like that, again, back to the $5 on an audience of a 1.5 to 2 mile ratio, $5 goes a long way on Facebook. I can tell you right now, when I started years ago, I started with small clients, like little restaurants, local restaurants, because I was learning the whole local agency thing. And you can actually order this thing called a beacon through Facebook. They send it to you. Well, now it's a Wi-Fi. They don't even have the beacon anymore. Through your own Wi-Fi, they give you a code so they can tap into it. and it will give you the stats of the people in a 1-mile ratio of your store. So you can see their age, you can see the foot traffic, when's the busiest, when it's not the busiest, what days, what time of the day. And based on that, with $5, you can run that lunch special from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. because that's when the traffic spikes up in front of your place and get them through the door. So you just got to get creative with it, man. I mean, like you said, there's no excuse. If you're willing to give up just $5 a day, you know, I used to smoke cigarettes years and years ago, and I used to spend like, I don't know, $10 on cigarettes a day. You know, that's a lot of money when you add it up. And I'm glad I quit because you can use that money for, you know, $5 a day or whatever.
Absolutely. You know, and so, you know, what does somebody do if they're an online presence? They don't have a physical location. How do they do the exact same thing? Well, in my example, I'm talking about a restaurant giving away their product, something they sell. Okay. I'm talking about them giving it away for free. And you know, with the hopes of this person's going to sit there and you know, tweet about it, Instagram about it, talk about it, and it's going to start snowballing. And it's not going to be an overnight thing. Okay. Every overnight success took 8 to 10 years. All you got to do is talk to them and all this other type of stuff. So if you're online, do the exact same thing.
Another thing,
what product do you sell? And go out and you can go on Instagram, and if there's a specific keyword and type stuff that you have, go search for that and DM it out to that person and say, hey, listen, you know, I've just started up and this is a product that I've got, and you know, I love this picture and all this type of stuff. And I would really enjoy if you know, being able to provide this to you and see how you like it. Don't ask you know, for the like or the review or blah, blah, blah. You know, just sit there and say, hey, listen, because if it's really super duper type stuff, people are going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Period. That's it.
Well, Tina, we got to keep David, you know, like a month at a time off Facebook, because when he comes back, he is just so excited
been off
to
almost
be
3 months.
Has it been 3 months?
David's been off technically almost 3 months.
And let me add that real quick.
And I might stay off.
we were talking about earlier, like even influencers. If you even want to play that whole game and you got the money to spend, there's a site out there called Shoutcart. You go to Shoutcart, you can hire people to do shout outs for you. You can see the engagement stats. You can see how many followers they got. You can see all that stuff. And they'll show you. It's like, hey, last time I posted this, it got this much traffic to it. So, I mean, there's ways to play the game.
You could just go on, you know, or you can just go on Instagram and find that. Don't try and find, you know, don't try and get a Kardashian if you don't have the budget for a Kardashian.
It's going to be expensive.
You know, but if there is a person who's commenting and posting about a product in the area that that you can help in, and you know, but they get a lot of engagement on their posts, and maybe they're following, you know, stop looking for the 1 million+ followers or the 100,000+ followers. Find someone who's got 10,000 followers or 5,000 followers or 1,000 followers. If they've got people that are engaging with their posts, they can become an influencer too.
And make sure.
And when you get the budget for a Kardashian, then go after a Kardashian if that's what you want.
Christian, you're behind your microphone. We can't.
Oh, sorry. I keep moving. It's a bad habit.
Depending on what your business is, your employees a lot of times are some of your best brand advocates. So don't discount
your employees are always going to be your best brand advocates. That is why it's super funny to find the people that you know, the way that big box stores like Walmart and Target and everything treat their cashiers. These are the people that have the most engagement and get the least pay and are always the ones who have the work piled on top of them. That's a really deadly combination.
And they're the ones talking to all the customers.
Right.
You know, it's not the manager. It's not the supervisor or the district supervisor or the vice president. Who cares about them? It's the person that's sitting there checking you out, you know, and is having a bad day. And then you come along and say, hey, listen, you know, we can't get you your 20-minute lunch break today. And all of a sudden now you've made that person's bad day even worse. Oh, yeah, they're going to be really happy when checking people out of your Target.
Yeah.
You know what killed Toys R Us? It wasn't Amazon. It wasn't Walmart. It wasn't Target.
Management.
It was Toys R Us. They took themselves out of the game.
They didn't keep up with it. They didn't keep up with it. They just
I
stayed.
still can't believe they're closing. I mean, because you got to remember, I'm right here by corporate. So I grew up with them. It's so
Why,
hard to
though?
believe.
We are well beyond the age of.
Well,
too
no,
big
I
to
mean the
fail.
personal side of me is it's kind of like not
Oh,
knowing.
I know.
that-
Yeah, there's a lot of happy memories and everything from people, definitely. But I heard a couple people, and they were like, I can't believe that they're closing. There's so many stores, and I'm like, yeah, now that's prime real estate for somebody who's going to go in and jump on it.
You know how many times I've had meetings with, and I'm talking about companies that have millions and millions of dollars, and I sit down in a room and I literally walk into these rooms, and then you have management, and then you have upper management, and obviously they're older people because I've been doing this forever, and they tell me, oh, we don't care about Facebook. Facebook is just for people to post their things. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what year are you living in that you just dismissed digital media? I mean, this is why you're going on there. Like, putting ads in a newspaper, it's nothing now. TV. I tell people all the time. I was like, advertising on TV, it's evolving already. It's dead. Just because I just had a product that I just picked up. I did more sales with a 2-minute ad on Facebook that they did with 5-minute commercials on TV all over the place.
Except for Super Bowl commercials.
Well, obviously, of course, but
if you've got $7 million to throw, you need to be lining yourself up for a 2019 Super Bowl commercial.
But you put the money where the attention's on. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, the way it's going to evolve, you're going to be able to hyper target streaming. So what do I mean by that? You already have it on YouTube. You already have it on Hulu. You already have it on Netflix. And I don't know what Comcast is going to do. They're going to have to evolve at some point, because the commercials that you're going to see is the commercials that I tell you're going to see because you're into it, just like we do on social media. But now it's going to be
Comcast is now tied to YouTube.
There you go. So yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, just throwing commercials out there just to throw commercials, it's going to be all hyper targeted now with the data that we have.
Because Comcast is the one who's now behind the YouTube Live, not the Live, the YouTube TV.
I didn't know that. But I haven't looked into it.
You can actually go on to YouTube on your TV now. You don't need Comcast. You don't need Fios, Verizon. You don't need any of those things. You have internet. You can watch live TV on your YouTube now. It's like $30 a month. But
I know that, but I didn't know that Comcast was behind it. I didn't know they paired up with Google for that.
They're the ones who are providing the TV.
Well, and that's what Facebook is doing along with Netflix. I mean, Netflix, you can just get it from your phone onto your TV with a Chromecast. I mean, Facebook, if you have a Chromecast hooked up to your TV, you can go to your TV show side of Facebook, or any video that you see on your newsfeed, you can broadcast it.
YouTube signed to ink the deal. Comcast is their TV provider for the ABC, CBS, Fox. So you can watch your live stuff, which means the commercials that go on there are now on YouTube.
Yep, exactly. That's the way it works. And that's why
nobody watches commercials. Do you know the DVR functionality has dropped in the past 2 years by almost 40%?
Yep.
Why? Because as soon as commercials come on, we all go for these, and we're just
straight for the phone. Straight for the phone. Always. That's why.
Or the tablet, or whatever. Or I sit there, and tap through if I can. I'll start a show 15 minutes late so I can skip through commercials.
Yeah, everybody does.
Of course, that's DVRing, but in the meantime, you eventually catch up. So you just go to your phone. You go on there. You search for news stories or something like that. I can't tell you the number of times now that I have sat there and watched a show, heard a song on the show. I'm like, that's got a catchy beat to it, and I'll pick up my phone and I'll Shazam it.
Yep, it's awesome. I love
why did Apple buy Shazam? That's one reason right there.
Exactly.
And why did I stay down in the lobby throughout the whole half of the show? Because the conversation was fantastic, and thank you to Robert and Christian and Tina and David. We normally run for an hour, so at this point in time, we did have an agenda. We didn't even get there.
Next time.
So I'm going to say thank you to everybody who's watched. I'm going to drop down, and then Tina will do the close. Yes, Tina?
Sure.
Brilliant. I'll bring Robert back. And thank you to Carinder for joining us.
See, in 3 months, and Stephen's still not changed one bit. He doesn't want to close out anything.
Sorry, I will. Christian, how can people find you?
I have if you want to learn about social media, I do have a group. It's called, if you search it on the search bar, it's called Digital Marketing, Facebook Ads, Traffic, and Lead Generation for Business. That's the group where I talk about a lot of the stuff. I made tons of videos to get you started with the basics to get a little bit advanced. And then I do have a podcast that I do once a week, and it's called The Christian Lovrecich Show. Don't ask me why I named my name, because I never thought I would do anything with it. It's because people can't spell my name, but you'll find it, trust me. And then if you guys want to watch that, 2 completely different worlds, but if you want to follow those 2, that'll be great.
Brilliant. And David, now we've found you, we can't let you go without saying, will you be back on live video now?
No, probably not.
Okay. No.
Probably not. Not for a while. It's priorities changed, and anyway, I have found what I found is that doing it was gaining the same amount of progress personally, business wise, and everything as not doing it. Doing it is not doing it. Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of other things. You can go search for me. I am David Vaughan if you want. There is still a Facebook page up. There's a Twitter account up. Entrepreneurs Geek is having a retool being done to it. So you can look out for something like that if you want to. But that's it. No, I'm not. I've enjoyed way too much not being caught up in all the hoopla and not listening to everyone else's hoopla as well.
That just made me think of SpongeBob.
Hey, you got to take a break every once in a while, man. I've done it before. Where I just burn out and I disappear for a couple of weeks. It's you got to do it sometimes, There's nothing wrong with that.
What I discovered, and I wasn't the only one. It was kind of funny. It was a few of us. Is that at the end of last year, it was kind of like, what the hell am I doing all this for? I just kept doing stuff just to do it, and that was just stupid. I was getting caught up in the same stuff I was pretty much just preaching about not doing. So, stop wasting time on stupid shit. Stop buying stupid shit.
Yeah.
If this is what you're going to do, who are you helping, and figure out the path towards that. So I want to let everybody else who's brilliant, like Steven and Tina,
thank you,
have a way with it. So
that's a good point. If you, whatever it is, whether it's live video or a Facebook ad or a billboard or a radio ad, if it's not working, stop. If it's not adding to what you're doing, then stop doing it.
I think a lot of people are actually at the one thing that I've noted is that a lot of people are actually doing it, and you really just shouldn't. It's not. You don't have your game down. You don't have your pitch down. You don't know who you're targeting. You're looking for the free, and it's just even Facebook. They changed live video. What did they announce a few weeks ago? That they were going to stop putting so much emphasis in the live video. Why? Because they're not making any money off of it, and they're all focused about money right now. They've got to be.
Yeah, you got to have it
before Facebook becomes a MySpace and becomes irrelevant.
The thing is, we're all on different journeys, and live video either is or isn't part of that journey, and there's no wrong or right. It's a personal decision. I totally enjoy being involved in the BLIFbot group and helping people go live for the first time, and that's my gig, and I enjoy it. Tina, will you close the show, please?
I thought we were closing it already. You asked them where to find you. So Stephen and I will be back unless he decides to go away and not doing it anymore, which I don't think he will. So we'll be back Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern time with another episode that will not stay on the agenda. So
okay, that's guaranteed. Christian, great to meet you live. David, thank you for coming in, and to Carinder as well.
Thanks, guys. Have fun.
And Robert. Bye. Don't forget Robert. We don't even know where Robert is. Is he still in the lobby?
You can bring Robert up and let him tell people where they can find him.
Down so he can sit there and tell people where to find him.
Well, you can find. I'm going to do it on his behalf because he's off to another show. So you can find Robert by just typing Robert C. Stern
Such a
in
busy
the search box on Facebook. You'll find him. And,
Such a busy guy.
Indeed.
Nice to
Well,
meet you,
good.
Christian.
Nice to meet you too. See you guys around. And if you
Okay.
have any-
Bye.
send me a
Bye.
message if you need anything.